What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. Not great, not terrible. NATO, normally allergic to melodrama, is now whispering that the next few months for Ukraine will feel like sprinting a marathon in a quicksand. Russia's casualty list already looks like a phone book from hell. Its budget resembles a half-empty piggy bank of an oligarch, and yet the Kremlin's war machine refuses to stall. Meanwhile, Kyiv races the clock, scrambling for shells, allies, and a miracle that just does not want to show up. Today's episode is not about clear wins or Hollywood plot twists. It's about endurance, delusion, and a battlefield where every fresh inch of mud costs a life. Because just when we all thought there was some sort of progress towards peace, or at least the reduction in the intensity of hostilities, Putin continues his invasion like nothing ever happened. At the moment of recording this video, at least 700,000 Russian soldiers are deployed in Ukraine. The Ukrainian intelligence warns about the potential assault against new region, Sumy. So as you can see, it almost feels like we never progressed from the situation we were in 2 years ago. Hundreds of thousands are fighting. New regions are at risk of being pretty much invaded. Peace talks failed, and alliances are gravely concerned. NATO's anonymous briefers, those shadowy voices that make or break your day, have ditched their usual poker faces for something closer to existential dread. According to their no longer so-called classified forecast, a high-pressure front of trench warfare and drone swarms is moving in from the east, set to target Ukrainian defenses anywhere from Sumy region to Zaporizhzhia. Was the headline. Stressful and difficult summer, literal quote from the NATO. No euphemisms, no soothing caveats, nothing. Just straight to the point. The alliance's trackers see Moscow inching forward like a glacier with a rocket strapped to its back. Painfully slow, but terrifyingly inevitable. Sumy Oblast, famous mainly for its quiet fields and stubborn locals, is about to become the new battlefield for Russia's artillery and Putin's mood swings. A buffer zone 10 to 12 kilometers wide may sound small on Google Maps when you zoom out, but for the people still living there, it is the difference between sleeping in their own beds or camping in a school gym across the Dnipro. We'll talk a little bit more about the potential incursion into Sumy in one of our next chapters, so guys, please keep watching. But for now, Zaporizhzhia. Ukrainians down south will not be unfortunately sipping cocktails either. NATO expects limited assaults. Think so-called meat grinders, but with better drones, aimed at shaving off tactical positions one crater at a time. What's the Kremlin's logic behind all this? If you cannot break through concrete wall, at least chew the edges until your opponent is tired out. Yet even with daily losses that would make most generals faint, approximately 1,300 Russian casualties every 24 hours on average as of recently, Moscow still cannot call the reserves for a grand sweeping breakthrough. It is a strange game of chess. Nobody has a queen, everyone's pawns keep disappearing, but the game drags on while the audience wonders if the players remember what even checkmate means. The problem is not just the fighting, it is the thinking behind it. Putin reportedly believes his forces are on the verge of a historic surge. Not because of strategic brilliance or surprise maneuvers, but because someone in Kremlin and the Ministry of Defense of Russia told him they are. Exactly the same situation we've been in since the middle of 2022. So welcome to the echo chamber of doom, where bad intel masquerades as divine prophecy and confirmation bias runs the general staff. NATO officials say he genuinely believes the war is going well, that his army is taking territory and morale is sky high. Or maybe he is mistaking the number of medals handed out post-mortem as a metric of success, who knows? If anyone would believe that, well, that would be Putin, right? Maybe it is just the altitude sickness of him being the dictator at the very top for so long. Either way, it means more attacks, more shelling, more dead soldiers tossed into the altar of fantasy. But such nonsense cannot last forever, right? Russia and Putin specifically do not have infinite money. The economy and the budget must be suffering. Let's try to figure out these things in our next chapter. On paper, Russia's industrial line hums like a Soviet-era factory at full speed. About 130 tanks across Russia rolling off the belt each month, 3 million artillery shells per year, and enough refurbished gear to stock a discount apocalypse. Sounds impressive until you peek behind a curtain and see that the nation's piggy bank is so full of holes that rubles fall out at the speed of Formula 1 cars. That once bragged about sovereign wealth fund, well, it is down from $150 billion to reportedly a skinny $37 billion, and shrinking faster than Kremlin spokesman credibility. Nobody talks about that in Russian propaganda, right? Labor shortages bite at every sector, not printing bullets. Budget deficits scream louder than state TV anchors, and civilians juggle shortages of diapers, painkillers, and hope. Yet, here is the devilish twist. The Kremlin is perfectly willing to mortgage its future to keep the war hydra fed. Trade long-term growth for short-term firepower? Well, just sign here and goodbye, до свидания, retirement funds. By NATO's math, Russia can collect enough cash to bankroll this saga all the way until 2027. More than enough runway for Putin to chase his favorite hallucination of a victory parade in Khreshchatnik. Meanwhile, Western capitals fight over aid packages like divorced parents arguing whose weekend it is to take care of the kid. And Ukraine watches the calendar the way a condemned prisoner eyes the clock. Russia's choice is clear: drain its civilian economy to fuel a military fantasy. Industrial capacity has been fully retooled toward the war effort, meaning domestic manufacturing of goods that matter, such as medicines, electronics, household items, has completely flatlined. Inflation is eating through pensions, small businesses are dying, and major cities are filled with hollowed-out dreams and increasingly angry silence. So what's the Kremlin's response? More parades, more festivities, more chest thumping, more stories about ancient empires rising from the rubble. You guys just wait a little bit longer, it's all going to happen. Meanwhile, Ukraine's economic survival is strapped to the back of foreign aid convoys. It is running a dual-front operation, defend the homeland and convince the world not to forget about them. Western support continues, but everyone knows that commitment is as fragile as a diplomatic handshake at a G7 summit. Trump's looming presence in the US does not help either. One more decision, one more sour comment, and suddenly Zelensky's fighters might be left holding a rifle with IOUs taped to their barrels. We also mentioned previously the potential upcoming incursion into Sumy region, so guys, let's talk about it in more details in our next chapter right now. If geography class bored you, well, guys, brace yourself. Sumy Oblast or Sumy region is about to become the pop quiz nobody studied for. Putin, in peak villain monologue mode, ordered a so-called security buffer zone, which Kyiv reads as we're about to knock on your door with 50,000 new friends. There are no random conscripts, these are Marines and airborne units freshly redeployed after fighting along Kursk frontiers. Ukrainian troops, already exhausted from months of confrontation, now face squads zooming around on quad bikes like Mad Max extras, fast, erratic, and dangerously hard to target. What's worse, information is sealed tighter than a submarine hatch. Journalists cannot roam freely. Frontline soldiers whisper through scratchy radios. The official statement is a shrug garnished with no comment. Civilians, meanwhile, pack their lives into plastic bags. 56,000 have already reportedly fled. 3 municipalities remain under volunteer evacuation, which basically means leave while you still can, while you still have the wheels. What about the border defenses? Delicate as spiderwebs, at least for now. Fortifying the line means ferrying heavy machinery through kill zones, where Russian FPV drones hunt hotspots like radioactive hornets. Russian attacks are spreading westward from captured villages like Novinki and Zhuravka. What's the tactic? Hit fast, pull back, rinse and repeat. It is chaos wrapped in strategy. Every gain is calculated to drain Ukrainian response units, stretch logistics, and deny any breathing room. The Ukrainian intelligence's lockdown on media access says it all. The region is boiling, and nobody wants to become the reason for a panic to begin. They feel something is coming. They see the arrival of new forces, and they bring their own defenders in response. But for now, no one is willing to take the first shot. Because when somebody does, either accidentally or on purpose, all hell breaks loose in Sumy region. Alexander Syrsky, Ukraine's commander-in-chief, paints the big picture like a surgeon holding the X-ray of a tumor nobody wants to name. Nearly 700,000 Russian troops crowd the front line, plus another 121,000 in reserve, enough bodies to fill every stadium from Vladivostok to Kaliningrad. Moscow keeps replenishing at roughly 9,000 souls a month. That's the size of a small European town poured into the trenches every 30 days. What's their strategy? Wear Kyiv down, claim a victory by subtraction, and pray the West's patience snaps first. Europe's diplomats mutter about ceasefires while Putin keeps repeating his own mantra. Wherever the boot of a Russian soldier steps is now our territory. It was always our territory. It's not a policy, it's an infection map. Ukraine's answer is not passive defense. Syrsky vows deeper strikes into Russian territory, hitting depots and airfields hundreds of kilometers behind the enemy lines. Think surgical arson. Fewer barricades, fewer airstrikes, more scorched warehouses. Each day, Ukrainian forces repel upward of 170 clashes along 1,200-kilometer front line, a carnival of chaos stretching farther than when it all even began. Kyiv shuffled commanders, tweaked mobilization laws, and still grapples with manpower gaps wide enough to park a T-90. And obviously, we just simply cannot blame them. War is a war. Not too many people are willing to sacrifice themselves for their country. And when Putin made it look like it just will never end, and then the end goal is not even in sight, the motivation to join the ranks is even now lower. What about diplomacy then? A mirage shimmering on the asphalt. NATO officials roll their eyes at the notion that Moscow wants kinda meaningful talks, whatever it means. Trump flirts with peace at any cost, which Kyiv translates as surrender your limb and maybe we will help you save your torso. Iran, distracted by skirmishes with Israel, slows its missile deliveries to Russia, but not enough to still tilt the scales in either direction. Every lever Ukraine pulls buys time. Every day Russia bleeds buys Putin propaganda. The world's richest club argues about sanctions like they're selecting dessert, while artillery duels decide the fate of towns most people cannot even pronounce. Well, there guys, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. If you wish to support my work and you finally can buy this hoodie, it's back and it's hot, but I'm still wearing it. All of this you can buy on the website russiandude.com, the link is down below. Other means of support are also links down below. Thanks so much for watching, see you tomorrow.
We do not believe in ridiculous Russian propaganda.